Hello everyone, and welcome to the 4th anniversary of the Mounty Presents. Yeah, not a lot really went down this year when it comes to the show, probably because I didn't upload as many episodes. Mental health, it's important to take care of. Anyways, to celebrate this milestone, it's only right I take care of something from my past that I did a terrible job at covering. The End of Evangelion. Now, if you saw the previous video, you'll recall that I did a top 5 reasons why I hated this movie back in 2015, and that it was a terrible video. But since that point, I've been doing reviews as my main form of content, and would like to believe I've improved in terms of my analysis and writing, so I think it's only fair I give this film another look, and see if it's better or worse than I thought it was back in 2015. So the story of this film is an alternate version of the 2-part finale to the TV series. Instrumentality still goes off, characters like Misato still dies, though speaking of her, she does go out in a blaze of glory as she takes on 3 members of the Japanese Defense Forces of Shinji, and Shinji is still a wreck, but even worse than in the show, since in this version he is effectively broken mentally due to the death of Kaoru by his hands, and this time, he causes third impact to happen, as well as everyone losing their physical forms later on when he snaps and wants humanity to die. But it's during this third impact that Shinji, who like I said is at rock bottom mentally, is effectively forced to climb out of there and become an adult, rejecting instrumentality and giving every human a chance to come back in their physical forms, as well as finally letting go of his mother. So yeah, it is similar to the original ending to an extent, but I like it since it's still giving Shinji growth that he desperately needed, and seeing him finally become an adult and stop running away from things because he initially thought he'd cause them pain is something that I liked after seeing him act scared/cowardly throughout the show, and it's nice to see him admit that whenever he ran away, there was nothing good about it, and except that he wishes to see his friends again despite him potentially getting hurt, because his feelings, and by extension he feels real. Yes, he dipped a hand in his mayo in front of Asuka's lifeless body and caused third impact, but the movie does make it clear that Shinji doing these actions was not a good thing, and with the former, he even admits that he is fucked up for doing that, so he does still have morality at this point in the film, and he does learn from the latter mistake by rejecting instrumentality and giving humanity a chance to return in their physical forms. Speaking of Asuka though, there was one moment I really did like when it comes to this character in the film, and that is the scene where she takes on the military and the mass-produced Evas. After being effectively comatose and unable to pilot an Eva for the final few episodes of the original show, she finally gets a chance to kick ass again, and she does so in a big way. She plows through the military like it was nothing, and even when facing 9 Eva units, she is still able to do a lot of damage to them before she gets overwhelmed and killed by them in a grotesque way. But yeah, it legit is great to see, especially after her being out of commission for a while not doing anything. So yeah, with a kick-ass fight scene and this character going out in a crowning moment of awesome, this is one of my favorite moments when it comes to Asuka as a character in this series. And her VAs do a good job portraying this character as someone initially elated to hear her mother's voice, as well as the revelation that her mother was always looking out for her, to someone giving it her all when facing these creatures of mass-produced destruction, and even her last words are handled really well by her VAs, giving off a great performance overall. While I'm at it, the other VAs do a good job with the characters they portray in this film no matter which version you pick, though, like the show, the ADV version of this is a bit clunky in terms of dialogue and the like, but it still is a good performance nonetheless. The animation is slightly improved in terms of quality when compared to the show. Really, if you like the animation and art style of the original show, you're gonna like the animation and art style in this film as well. It's colorful, it's well detailed, it's appealing to the eyes, it has great backgrounds and character models, and also has good camera angles that do a good job making an already good scene even better. Speaking of cinematic though, the music is once again fantastic, with special mention going to the song that plays when all humans lose their physical form, Kolm Susatod, forgive my butchering, performed by Arayan and Shiro Sigasu. It's composed very well, and the beat is oddly, for lack of a better word, upbeat given the tone, as well as the well-written lyrics describing Shinji's mental state getting worse and what happens during the scene it's used in, as you see all the characters you watched in the show get turned into LCL and absorbed into the instrumentality project, effectively showing the end of humanity as a concept and the quote-unquote birth of a new being formed by every human being merged into one. It's so weird given the tone is all upbeat while everything else is the opposite of that, and yet I love the song despite that because of its great lyrics, catchy beat, and great composition. So yeah, sound team did a good job in this department. I could also talk about the other characters, but since it is a retelling of the two-part finale, most of the focus is given on Shinji, so the others don't really get a whole lot to do this time around. Yes, Misato and Asuka get their good moments before dying, but Rei basically stands around for most of the movie and then betrays Gendo to help Shinji in the second half of the movie. Gendo kills Ritsuko and then just lays there on the ground till Rei or the Eva unit eats them. Though I do like the similarity to Shinji in Gendo's final scene where he admits that the big reason he abandoned Shinji years ago was because he thought he would hurt Shinji if he raised him without Yui, which is somewhat similar to Shinji's because Shinji tended to run away, or try to run away, from issues because he thought he would hurt people if he stayed. And as for the other people at NERV, they basically just provide commentary on what's going on at the moment, or just right off the Japanese Defense Force, so there's not really a lot of focus for them as characters. Which does mean I don't have to spend too much time talking about them, but that also means there's only so much I can say about them as characters in this movie. But yeah, there isn't really a lot for me to talk about when it comes to this movie. I said it's a revised version of the TV finale, or I guess in this case a remastering, but whatever. Brought up Shinji's mental state as well as him becoming an adult. I guess I could mention the live action bits before the Rei figure breaks apart, but when watching this movie I just looked at the scene as a neat little aesthetic / callback to the TV version where we saw an alternate reality version of the show where the main characters were at school. Frankly, if you like the original ending of the show, you're gonna like this movie since it still gives Shinji development that he needed, especially after what happened with Kaoru's death. It gives characters like Asuka and Misato stuff to do, and we do get to see fantastic visuals, especially during the third impact scene. Seriously, this does look really good for the time. So yeah, well done, Gainax. And yeah, I like this movie. It did a good job remaking the ending as well as the story of it, since now it has time to breathe and not be compressed down into TV deadlines. The music is once again really well done, and while the side characters don't really have a lot to do, it does fix an issue I had with the TV finale, which was not giving Misato and Asuka much to do in it. Kinda odd I'd say that in 2019 after that top 5 I made a few years ago, but things do change, and as shown with this review, my thoughts on this are one of them. I can't thank all of you enough for sticking by me these last 4 years. I really do appreciate it, and I hope I can keep doing these in the future. I know I didn't release as many episodes as the previous year, but hopefully that means the quality of the future episodes I release going forward will be better than before, since now they won't be released every week like I was doing for the last couple of years. Only time will tell. So thank you all for watching, special thanks to my patrons, and have a fantastic day, everyone.